Explosive Crime Division comprises a mixture of lawyers, investigators and support staff, just under 35 at the moment in number. We're growing. The reason I nominated the whole team was that this calendar year we've had a number of eye-catching results, which include £25 million worth of financial orders, and we've actually recovered £10 million, in excess of £10 million for the Treasury, and that was why I wanted to put us in. For this purpose, I thought we'd focus on Operation Steamroller.
Operation Steamroller is what's called a boiler room fraud, wherein investors are sold shares which prove to be either worthless later on down the line or of very, very minimal value, and they essentially lose the money that they've invested.
Certainly one of the largest cases that the SFO have had. There's thousands of victims that were victim to the boiler room fraud, and the benefit amounts in respect to one of the defendants is in excess of 40 million.
As far as we know, this is one of the largest boiler room frauds ever prosecuted, and it was run from Spain primarily by a large number of individuals who effectively amount to an organised crime group.
There was around 2,000 investors who lost money in this fraud, and we estimated that the value of the fraud was around 100 million US dollars, which is around 70 million pounds, all from UK investors. The
worst and most significant feature of it was that there were thousands of individual victims who lost, in some cases, very large sums of money, up to £1 million per person. Now, obviously, that is a pretty major financial hit for anybody. One of the features of SFO cases is one of the reasons we take some of the work on is that it has an international element. That is explicitly one of our roles. Some of the bribery and corruption cases are international bribery and corruption. That is one of the SFO's statutory functions. So yes, we do take on those cases for that reason, and they are notoriously difficult because it takes time to get evidence from abroad.
OSR2 is particularly complex. It's very much multi-jurisdictional, so we've had to request the help of a lot of agencies overseas to make inquiries on our behalf. My geography's definitely improved working on this case because there's so many different jurisdictions that the defendant has assets in, or we believe he has assets in.
I mean, obviously as a financial investigator you have a number of investigative tools you can use. Production orders, I have no idea how many we obtained, but just there were hundreds and hundreds of bank accounts, and you have to use production orders to obtain all the statements and the banking details behind the transactions.
Clearly the people we deal with have the funds to employ the best, and the defendant, one in particular, they made an application to the court basically stating that the information I'd laid before the court hadn't been full and frank, and that I hadn't been full and frank in my disclosure when I'd applied for the search warrant, and that I'd essentially misled the court. That was their application, and it went to a full hearing at the High Court, and the court looked at the information I had provided and the arguments put forward by the defence as to what I hadn't disclosed, and thankfully the court found that we were completely justified in our actions.
And then that reflects the unique nature of the SFO. We are the only agency that prosecutes and investigates. Obviously we prosecute our own cases, and therefore I need lawyers working as part of the team and sat next to and directly with the investigators. So the whole model of the SFO is prefaced on the two groups working effectively together. People think that fraud is a victimless crime, but that is absolutely not true. And particularly these types of cases, people are not in a position to take their own, say, civil recovery action. The only prospect of them getting anything back is through compensation through the criminal process. And it isn't easy. We have to pick up the pieces after a long trial and try and put it to the court, and if the court makes a compensation order, which they did in all these cases, any money that we recover will go back to those victims. None of it will come back to the SFO or the Treasury in this case. They will all go back to the victims. And I think that's an absolutely key outcome.